I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. There we go. All right, let's introduce everybody to who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Dan Ackles. I started off Ramadi as a PFC, picked up Lance Corporal over there, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 81's platoon. And I think we were known as the A team, but technically Rainmaker.
Fuck you.
Yeah. So.
Awesome, man. So where do you want to start?
I think it's been kind of funny seeing all these guys that, went to Okinawa, the deployment before, and you guys all kind of bonded over there. In Okinawa, got the bench warmer speech and stuff. And my experience was so different from that. I got there in the middle of our March Air Force Base. Like showed up on Super Bowl Sunday or something like that.
Oh, shit.
You get halfway done with the training, almost done with the training type of thing. You're like, this is your new unit. And then, 2 weeks later, we were on the parade deck or so.
Yeah, it wasn't long.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was right around Valentine's Day.
That's right.
And then, so I was the Buddhist of the boots. And it was just kind of crazy from that angle, like everyone knew each other. I didn't know anybody. Me and Akers and Osbos had went through SOI together, but there's only the three of us that went to 2-4 in that very last boot drop.
Huh.
And it was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then we went to 81's platoon. Me and Akers stayed in first section. Osbos went over to second. So like you guys have talked about on here a bunch.
Yeah.
Really different platoons at that point. Like we didn't ever see him again, once in a while in the smoke pit type of thing. But yeah, it was just weird being so new and trying to fit in and trying to learn stuff on the fly.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as that went, you were literally one of those people, like they mentioned in Zoroya's book, where you were issued your weapon and probably the first time you fired it was at somebody else.
Pretty close. I mean, we probably BZO'd it type of thing. But yeah, I can't remember doing any of that in the States. Maybe we did that in Kuwait or something,
I have all of a sudden a
half memory, Dan. Did Aponte have some sort of laser, like you could put it in the barrel?
Foresight type of thing?
Yeah, like a bore sight type thing. Didn't he have all of a sudden I had a memory of that where we like zeroed in our like PTAC or something like that. I can't remember.
We had one. There was a couple of them floating around just for that reason, because weapons got damaged and you got new weapons, but you had no place to zero them. So we used that laser zero to get you pretty close.
I remember one day we did some BZOing about halfway through the deployment over at Snake Pit.
Yeah.
Everything, double check all our guns, just to make sure everything from machine guns to, our M16s. And I don't think anyone had an M4 at that point.
I don't think so.
No, the newest rifle we had was some M16A4s. Some people even still had A2s.
Yep, I remember Akers had an A2 and we all made fun of him for it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody had a shortened rifle at all.
Right.
Cool, man. Yeah. So that had to have been a whirlwind. You were literally out of SOI. Did you go home between SOI and getting dropped to us, or did you literally go off the bus SOI straight to 2-4, check into battalion, and then come to March Air Force Base?
They sent a van over to SOI to pick us up.
Yeah.
Just the three of us type of thing. And I want to say it was Staff Sergeant Coleman that picked us up or something.
Yeah.
And, put us in barracks room for the night and went to SIF the next day. And, after we went to SIF, we hadn't even gone through our gear. We were going to March Air Force Base to leave. Guys, that's all we did. We get in there and go,
Yeah, man.
And then, immediately, I remember March Air Force Base was some pretty good training, the 3-4 days I spent there type of thing. We did a lot of room clearing, a lot of, we learned about tape houses, all sorts of stuff like that. Being a mortarman going through SOI, we didn't do hardly any rifleman training.
Right.
3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then you split up. But yeah, there's no break between getting dropped to the unit. We had just got done with Christmas break, a couple weeks before that from SOI. So yeah, no, there's no break.
Actually, that's a really interesting point. I guess so. You got a break during SOI during Christmas to go home, or was it just no training?
We got a break. We got leave.
Okay, so that was your pre-deployment leave.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be it.
That's intense.
About to deploy or anything, right? I remember some of the staff NCOs at SOI being like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, you're going to 2-4. They're going out in a month, they're going to Iraq." I was like, "What the fuck? He's talking to me," So yeah, it was so fast paced and wild, really, and going on deployments after that, getting to see how a workup really happens, like you do all those classes, power of attorneys, and all that stuff. I was like, I got here too late for all that. My first deployment,
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we didn't have a whole lot. We definitely had to fill out our wills and all that stuff, but we didn't.
Yeah.
The training was pretty haphazard, to be honest. Except for March Air Force Base, as far as I've heard. I didn't get to go, but
it was good. It was what was interesting, and I think Dan, you hit it almost perfectly. Is it was training you how to train. It was training you how to go through things. Really, just to be like, okay, imagine you're going to go out on this op. Here's some pre-training to think about what you're going to do, and so you can go over it like a tape house or something. Like he was saying, that it was really better than as far as when that went. It didn't really train you, but it was good. It was a good example of what to do.
Yeah.
The Miles gear stuff was interesting. We got to shoot at each other with little laser guns and stuff like that. That was great.
I don't remember doing any of that. I don't know if I just missed that or if they didn't trust me because I was so new and stupid. But yeah, I don't remember any of the Miles gear. I remember sitting on a watchtower one night, for simulated guard or whatever.
Yeah.
And saw some of the Op 4 or whatever, the guys they had there walking around. So I tried radioing it in and just being told, maintain radio silence. Like 3 guys, they look like they're up to no good. And I tried giving them where they were at, by this house or whatever. Maintain radio silence. All right, I guess I'll just shut up then. So that's all I really remember for interacting with any of the hostiles or anything like that.
Sure. So, and then we got to February and we headed out February 16th. Flew over. Anything stick out on the way over or on the way or in Kuwait?
That plane ride was terrible.
Uh-huh.
I remember there was M16s in my back on those stupid cargo nets that we sat on for I don't know how many hours the flight was, but I remember we probably spent as long on runways as we did flying because the plane kept breaking down.
Yep.
And then on the way over there, being the boot, like I said, the bootest of the boots, I was on gear guard, weapons watch, every stop we made type of thing. And I remember in New Jersey hearing about how great the chow hall was while people were bringing me plates because they weren't letting me off gear guard.
Jeez.
I did go once. I did go once, but yeah, it was well, I'll stay here, make sure no one fucks with our stuff. And then you don't know who is in your platoon even really. Like we had what 60 guys in mortars.
Yep.
Like I remember calling a few people out, and they're like, "I'm in the fucking platoon, you idiot." You know, like, oh, yeah, of course you are. My bad, Lance Corporal. You know, like, yeah. So
Sipping the fire hose, huh?
yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, that was pretty wild. It was, I mean, the most uncomfortable I've ever been was on that plane ride. Like I said, there's a pistol grip in my back. You know, like we were literally crammed in there to where you couldn't move, and somehow you'd fall asleep for a while. You'd wake up, every joint in your body would be hurting. And then, of course, you guys have talked about it on here a few times. The breakdowns. We went to New Jersey, stopped. You know, I remember the fuel coming out of the jet. Was that Germany?
Yeah.
Get back on the bus. Get back on the bus.
You know, I mean, like now we have to go over the Mediterranean. You know, like with this fucking piece of shit that we've already repaired 3 times on the way here. Like, can't they find us a new plane? You know, like, what is this? And I mean, that's the 2-4 experience in a nutshell, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
But
My wife wonders why I'm
Like how I am.
yeah, exactly. I remember Kuwait was, pretty cool, pretty chill. We did a little bit of training there. We did a lot of, speed reloads, tack reloads, stuff like that, on the platoon level. We were doing that stuff over and over again. But, that was a couple hours a day, a little bit of PT here and there. I mean, the chow wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible either, I mean, you go to chow a couple, 3 times a day, and they had that little MWR phone center, so you'd call people. I remember there might have been a tent with like some gaming systems or something, or maybe it was just the phone center, but you had to put down someone's name and last 4 to hold them a spot for it. And I remember towards the end of our week or 2 there that we were just putting 0341 and stuff like that to sign up all our buddies. And they called us out. They're like, "How does everyone have the same last 4?" He's like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy, isn't it? Like, so, yeah. But no, Kuwait was pretty cool. I didn't have a lot of responsibilities. I'm sure I did a bunch of fire watch while I was there, but I was used to it. And then
at that point we were in pretty big tents, so it went, made it a little bit easier keeping the gear all together.
Yep. And then I wasn't a part of the convoy that went up. I was. I feel like we flew to a base, and then we got in 7 tons for the 1 to 2 hour drive into Ramadi, into Hurricane Point.
Yeah, nice.
And they didn't have any armor at all. They had a bunch of sandbags on the 7 ton. Like, just, I mean, not enough to get your shoulders behind them, but you were in a crouch position looking out this, pickup bed of a 7 ton. And if you're smart, you put a sandbag under your knees because you were on your knees for 2 hours, like type of thing. I remember just, when we got into Ramadi, like, holy shit, this is a big city. Like there's a lot of people here, and looking at, they weren't that tall of buildings. It's not like a metropolis like we have here in America, but it's like, there's a lot of fucking windows. How are we going to watch all these fucking windows? Like, we're, like, and just feeling completely overwhelmed when I got there. And then getting there and getting to those hooches that we lived in with the tarp tops.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this? Like looking over at the little palace that headquarters is in is like, well, that looks nice. What the fuck is this? Like, they sewed together a bunch of shelter halves. What is this? Like, yeah, no, it was looking at the porta johns, and we had the shitters inside that you couldn't use. the water that was somehow ice cold for the showers inside, no matter how hot it was outside. Yeah, I remember a lot of working parties to fortify the smoke pit because it was just a plywood structure at first, and then we just kept stacking sandbags and stacking sandbags.
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it was not there, and you guys put up the plywood.
That's very possible. I didn't really.
What?
I smoked on that deployment, but I was mostly a chew user, like Copenhagen and stuff. So, I mean, I think
What I
like a lot of guys,
remember,
I started smoking over there because it was something to do, you know.
Mhm.
what I
So,
remember of the smokehouse was, and I don't remember who it was exactly, but was ripped our asses for letting guys smoke outside because of the cherry, quote unquote, during at night. And
Mhm.
like it was not, you're gonna get shot by a sniper, and I can't remember who lit us up. And but then it was like, well, fuck it, then we'll build something for it.
Mhm.
And
I
that was
believe
the beginning. That was the beginning because I remember getting my ass reamed for letting the guy smoke outside at night. And so
Yep.
all right.
it's like,
We'll
fuck
smoke.
it, fine, we'll build something.
Yeah, we'll smoke inside. No, you can't do that either.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't remember building that smoke pit, but I remember doing the sandbags on it. Seemed like for days.
Well, there was no shortage of sand, at least.
That's true, and it was nice soft sand. You didn't have to really chisel it up or anything, you know. So
Yeah.
that was nice, I guess.
So now I don't remember when. So we crossed the line of departure on March 6th. Do you happen to remember when you flew in? Was it the same day? Was it around March 6th, 7th, around there? Any idea? I'm just curious
I'm
because
not sure. I know. I remember getting there, and Hodges was already bragging about the firefight they had already been in, since before we even got there, type of thing, and kind of talking shit to us. Like, oh, you guys are a bunch of fucking pogues, really, and I did this, that, the other thing, and just being a typical Hodges, love that guy to death, but he was a
yeah, it's
bit.
interesting because Hodges came up in my convoy. I only remember specifically because when we left the line of departure, I was like, okay, who do I know and can count on in this convoy? And I was like, okay, I've got Hodges, I got Musser in mine as well. I had him in my convoy as well, about 6 vehicles back. And I was like, okay, I know these fucking people. I know, I don't know what's going to happen with these 7 tons because these dudes have to jump 20 feet down to get in the fight. Like, I don't know what the hell. They're just going to shoot from the top, I guess. Just trying to like think strategically, like what's going to happen if we get contact. Fortunately, nothing happened on the way up. So I did not realize probably because of planning that anybody had flown in. So I don't even know when you flew in, but if he's saying there was contact,
It might have been during some left seat, right seat
I
stuff.
was going to say you must have come a week afterwards then, because the first time there was any contact at all was about a week later.
Okay.
My memory is that it was a while. Like I'm remembering that it was a while before we had the rest of our element come up because, and I think it was different for you, Nyland, because it was only the 81s that really needed that because we
Yeah.
didn't have the 7 tons to bring everybody up like the line companies did, and that's why a lot of them drove up. But I think it was really just maybe some HNS and 81s that needed to get flown in.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, part of our headquarters people were already there. They'd come as the forward element a week or so prior, and so they were already there. And then Map Two was the convoy security for the first convoy, and so we all came up together as far as that goes. Yeah,
Yep.
that's weird. All right. Well, so you got there, and then do you remember whose truck you're in?
Yeah, I was in the lead vehicle. Lieutenant Dobb was my vehicle commander
Mhm.
pretty much the whole time. In the back was me, Fernandez, Mater, and Luna. And I think we started off with Hurley as our machine gunner. Holm was our driver. And then we hit that first IED. You guys have talked about on here before. They got medevaced. and then Regal and Savage for a while. And then honestly, I can't tell you who replaced them as machine gunner after that, or driver when they got medevac. So, but
So you were in
yeah,
the back. You were in the back of a highback initially.
yeah. I don't remember ever going to an up armor, to be honest with you.
You
I remember
did eventually, but it was a long time.
trips in them type of thing. Like we went to Al Assad. I remember it was really hard to stay awake because you were so cramped in there. And on like a high back, it felt pretty comfortable. Like, look at all this armor around me. Nothing's going to happen. And it was pretty hard to stay awake in the high back or in the up armors because they actually had some air conditioning and stuff. And
You start to get some creature comforts. You start to kick your feet up.
yeah, and not sitting on a wooden bench looking outboard, like
Yeah.
so. Yeah, no, I mostly remember the highbacks and just all stopping, jumping out of those, patrolling a lot, doing raids and stuff like that. Right out of the highback.
You started off talking a little bit about being up at March Air Force Base and getting some of that initial training and kind of how, as Nyland was saying, was getting trained how to train. What do you remember of the tactical shifts and whatnot as coming into Ramadi in that early part, leading up to April when obviously everything shifted and obviously we continued to change our tactics, but what do you remember of any of that?
I remember when we first got there, we really thought it was just going to be handing out Hershey's bars, soccer balls, stuff like that, and interacting with some kids and stuff, and them trying to trade us dinar for dollars type of thing, and really trying to engage with them and be polite and stuff. And I made a few of those trades for some of that money or whatever, just to have souvenirs and make some kids' day.
Sure.
And yeah, I remember it was pretty chill. Like you'd hear reports. I remember we went out on casualties and stuff like that, but they all kind of felt like flukes, type of thing. It's like, it's been a week, nothing really happened. Okay, something happened, but I mean, the odds are still in our favor, type of feeling. And then, and then April hit, and that all changed kind of overnight.
Well, that first IED was before April, right? Or wait, Holmes was after that. He was at the end. That's right. That was later.
I think
That was later.
it was Holm and Hurley. I can't remember if they were there for April or not.
Well, Holmes and Hurley, didn't they get hit end of April? It would have been like,
I think so.
I think it was like, because it was like a week before Savage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a week or two apart. And yeah, I remember feeling a bit cursed in that lead vehicle type of thing. And like the next day, we went on a big convoy to a real big base. Maybe it was Al Assad or something.
Okay.
Probably Takata Air Base would be my guess.
That very well could be.
Because we made quite a few runs right around that time to Takata Air Base to pick up different gear. That's where we picked up the Warlocks, the Cobra sights, if you remember those. There was a few different shipments of new types of gear that we sent weapons company units out to go get.
Okay. But yeah, I remember Xbox while I was there at the PX.
Good. Yeah, that's a more important piece of gear.
And Hodges is like, not saving any money. I was like, I don't fucking need to save money. I'm gonna have fun until the fucking next one, like fuck it. I don't care. Like I'm gonna play video games because I mean I did all the normal stuff, smoked a lot of cigarettes, bullshit in the smoke pit. We played dominoes. I remember playing a lot of dominoes in the hooch, buying a DVD player type of thing, and watching those Haji movies with all their flaws, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, fuck it. I got $300 extra. I'm buying this Xbox.
What game did you get for the Xbox? Do you remember?
I feel like I got some Tetris combo game. When I had other games on it, but I played a lot of Tetris because I always liked Tetris, going back to high school calculators. Um, yeah. So, and then I think I got Grand Theft Auto for it or something. But
Nice.
um, looking
that was for training purposes, right? You know.
So yeah, I didn't really play it that much. But that was mostly because they had the different voltage plugs. So I had to send it our base Haji there a couple times to get repaired because I'd plug it directly in and it'd be the 240 or whatever and fry the thing. But it did get repaired. He didn't send a bomb back in it or anything, which is nice. So yeah. Nope. I remember buying that Xbox after Savage died, like the next day. And being they were so close together, I only had the 2 pairs of Desert Digis or whatever. My first set got ripped like down the whole seam, jumping a fence or something like that one day. And I was like, I can't fucking sew these back together. So kind of tucked those away, and I was using my other set, and they got covered in Savage's blood, type of thing. So I had to borrow someone's set of bottoms, and I ended up getting Cifuentes, which he was 8 inches shorter than me, type of thing, and some fucking guy, the airbase there, called me out, and he's like, "You don't look much like the Cifuentes. Whose fucking trousers are you wearing?" And I just fucking lost it on him. I was like, "I don't got mine because they're covered in fucking blood. What the fuck's wrong with you?" You know, like, yeah, I had to burn them because they're all fucking covered in blood. Yeah, I don't
That
know.
happened a lot. I mean, as you know, we've had these other conversations about, you know, this, you know, in a different way going into the chow halls, how a lot of, you know, so early on in the war that a lot of people hadn't, you know, they have a rear echelon, they have a, you know, peacetime mind frame. And this was the first time real war was really kicking off, and the number of times that we got snatched up, quote unquote, you know, for being out of regs.
Not having
It's
covers.
like, no, motherfucker, I actually did some shit.
Yeah, it's like, do you want me to wear my Kevlar? Like, we weren't planning to come here. We didn't put our covers in the trucks because we don't have anywhere for our covers. We're driving around with fucking highbacks. You know, like, we're over here. We're gonna fucking get some fuel and we're gonna get some chow. Why are you giving us a hard time? You know, and I remember hearing that story about Sergeant Major calling up their Sergeant Major and everything else. And like, that made me feel good over there. You know, like, at least he's got our back. You know, because being new, you almost expected to get an ass chewing from your Sergeant Major for not having your cover, you know, because that is, you know, but the opposite happened. And that was nice.
Yeah, it's crazy the different experiences, even, you know, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of feet, right? From where we were sitting at Hurricane Point to Camp Blue Diamond. And they had a person making them hot coffee and serving them lobster and steak.
Yeah.
You know, like it was literally lobster and steak. We went over there one time and they were like, "You guys can't have this." And we're like, "You can have this chow. You can't have this. We made this special." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll take my ghetto shit bags and we'll go sit over here and eat the spaghetti you made for us. Thank you." Yeah, very unusual to have the siloed experiences, just, you know, where you could see each other, but you're having a totally different war.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember that holiday that we got steaks? It might have been July.
It was 4th of July. Yeah.
Yeah.
The truck company guys and, well, some of the headquarters guys all grilled them up on those crazy grills they made.
Yeah. All I remember about my steak is it tasted like straight mosquito repellent. I took 2 bites, threw the rest away. I was so excited walking over to sit down. Like, had apples in one hand and my tray with they were big, great looking steaks.
Uh-huh.
One like big bite, and I was like, this isn't right. This tastes like deep, you know? And all right, go to the other side, try over here. nope, this is Deed again. Did they fucking spray this down with off? You know, like, what the fuck is this? And I tried offering it to other people, and they're like, "Nah, man, I don't want it." I don't know if I just had the bad luck that day. Dude was getting hit by flies, so he sprayed it right over my steak or what. But I was so disappointed. So disappointed. So.
Well, staying on the topic of Hurricane Point, what you said you brought up definitely playing video games and watching DVDs and dominoes and stuff like that. Is any other hooch life slash camp life that sticks out to you?
I remember I was running quite a bit. I would do laps around the base there. I think it was about 3/4 of a mile for the lap I was doing, type of thing. And last couple months and I'd put my headphones on, and I had a CD player, with some CDs from home, and I'd just try and run, do some pull-ups, stay in shape, get a little bit of the anxiety out by running hard. And I remember towards the end, I blew past, must have been the CO, I guess, but the next day it came out that you couldn't wear headphones anymore while you ran because someone didn't stop for the CO or the sergeant major. I didn't single time after that. It was like, guess I'm done. Like this was my me time where I could drown everyone else out and do something I thought was good for myself. But I'm not fucking doing this no more. Like this fucking bullshit. Like they were trying to say, well, what if a mortar came in or something? I was like, you can hear stuff. It's just I was running and I didn't want to stop. Like it was dark out or half dark. And I don't know. But I ran a little bit. I'd go to the weight room occasionally, not like some of the guys over there that got real big suspiciously or anything. But I did hit the weights every once in a while. I did like the smoke pit. I would hang out with Lei Long quite a bit. He got a hookah while we were over there.
He did.
And all those flavored tobaccos and stuff. And that, I don't know, we spent a few nights out there acting like it was a bong and coughing our lungs out. Tobacco, and just bullshitting, making fun of each other and stuff. Yeah, I mean that was most of it.
Did you get a chance to contact home much, or did you call home much at all?
I did. I mean, a few times a week, probably. My girlfriend then is my wife now, so we're still together.
Nice, congrats. And what's funny is, a 20-year marriage is something that is a rarity, but the more we interview people, it seems like I'm hearing it more from our guys. I don't know what that means. Maybe we're all, I don't know, we find the one who will stick with our craziness and stick with them.
Pretty much. She puts up with me. No one else.
Trauma bonded.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'd call her, and I'd call, a few family members here and there, but mostly her. The time change was, 10, 12 hours difference? So
something like that, yeah.
So we were always calling it weird hours for people. She was the one that really didn't seem to mind. So she would answer pretty consistently. So, yeah, no, I'd call home from that stupid trailer.
It's interesting, and not to shit on a company specifically, but AT&T made a lot of fucking money charging us for that goddamn trailer.
What was it? 30 to 50 cents a minute?
A fucking lot. Yeah.
It's like you'd get the phone cards and it'd say 100 minutes, but it lasted for like 15.
Yeah.
And you'd spend $20 on one of those phone cards. I mean, I'm sure they had some kind of increased cost because they made so much fucking money. Them and the biggest winners of that war.
Yeah. Yeah, by far. Anybody send you any care packages or anything?
Yeah, I remember getting some venison jerky from my uncle while I was over there. Some like summer sausage and stuff. That was pretty great. My now mother-in-law sent me one with a bunch of peanut butter fudge, some homemade jam, and stuff like that.
This
And
is very Michigan care packages. I like this a lot.
yeah, I mean, they were fantastic. I remember one night I got into that peanut butter fudge, and I just ate probably 1.5 pounds of it.
Yeah.
Just sitting in my rack, one piece after the other, laughing at movies.
Yeah.
And fucking the next morning, it was like, "You're fat fucking ass. What the fuck's wrong with you? You were sitting there giggling with your headphones on all fucking night. I couldn't sleep. Blah blah blah." And fucking just chewing my ass. I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was like 2 racks away from Hersher and Hodges, and that made the whole deployment a lot more interesting.
You're now the, I don't know, third or fourth person to mention that Hersher and Hodges made deployments more interesting. That's good. I hope they come on here sometime soon.
They were some of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever met in my entire life. And yeah, no, I appreciate them guys a lot. So
that's good, dude.
Yeah. Nope. Wild time.
Well, if you don't mind, how about we dial it back to we kind of skipped over some of the stuff we stopped right before we got to the April battles and stuff like that. If you don't mind, what do you think about, what do you remember of that all kicking off? Because you're a Rainmaker, so you would have been what, second out?
Yeah, I remember spending all day out there. Really just going from one spot to another, trying, line companies would get into some shit, and we go and we'd back them up. I feel like we might have had one 240 mounted, and that was on the second truck with Savage. But then we had those really, I think they were made in Kuwait mounts for our saws on the trucks.
Yep.
And I mean, they worked. They were still overwhelming firepower. Generally, it felt like by the time we got there, Haji's would leave. The Alibaba would be gone. Yeah, I remember tearing it up, holding security down a lot of alleyways, doing a few medevacs of injured people. And just being out there must have been 18 hours at a time, like April 6th, it was, I don't think it was first thing in the morning, but once it hit, we were just out there running from one place to another all day. Like we'd dismount. I think we might have stopped in a combat outpost real quick, refilled our water, refilled our trucks with fuel or something, and right back out there.
The things that I have written down for especially April 6th. So first one's out, Golf was ambushed in the south of the city off of Easy Street, and Map 3 was the first one out, but you guys were not shortly thereafter. I mean, maybe 30 minutes, hour at the most, shortly out the gate. And then you guys also went to reinforce Golf as well, but you got ambushed before you got there, and then reinforced Map 3. And do you remember anything specifically about the south of the city near Easy Street on that?
Yeah, is that the one? I think Lieutenant Dobb told the story about Buzz Lightyear getting his foot shot off.
Yeah.
Regal would have been our driver that day because he had a Buzz Lightyear. He hung from the rear view mirror in the center type of thing that his son had gave him. And that was we go to turn a corner, and this RPK starts lighting us up type of thing. And it literally sounded like it was in the truck with us. It was so loud and so close. And Regal slammed on the brakes, and I remember Luna and Mater were on the other side of the truck, and they fell forward, and it might have been Savage that was machine gunner that day, but they were kind of in a pile in the front, just by the back window to the highback. And I remember popping up and getting to the standing pretty quick and looking over that side and just raining down bullets. I don't remember seeing the guy, but I remember, feeling like I had to do some suppressive fire or something. And then Fernie pulls me down, and I don't stop shooting. And I shot through our armor like a dozen times, type of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me, "Not like that, you idiot! Like this, like put the gun over your head and just shoot over the armor," type of thing. And by that time, my magazine was already gone, and the truck behind us had used their machine gun effectively and killed the guy and stuff like that. But I caught a lot of shit for shooting up that armor the rest of the deployment.
I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was actually a bit that how well my rounds went through that armor, because I'm glad they didn't, but I'd almost have rather they ricocheted backwards, because they went right through it. They left a bunch of holes in the armor, and it's like, fuck, that's not very good armor, So, yeah. And then, like you said, we killed that guy. We might have spent 5 minutes looking around for any of his buddies or whatever, but we left him there and we just kept driving to do our original mission.
Was that the first time that you were that you returned fire that you remember?
Yeah, I think so. The next couple of days, there's a lot of opportunities for it. I think that was the first time.
So right after that, you guys linked up with Map 3. By that point, Condi had already been wounded. The Army had showed up and done some evacs with their 113s. If I remember correctly, you guys helped evac some of the Gulf casualties, though mostly it was the Army 113s and a little bit of Map 3. It's highback who was dragging guys out from Gulf Company and taking them back to Junction City. But I think you guys may have done at least one evac. You would know because you were in the highback. So I'm kind of asking at the same time as I'm saying.
I feel like we were almost all in highbacks. There's only one non-highback in our platoon at that point, if I remember correctly. I can't say I remember them going in our highback, but they very well could have. It was such a blur that day. For a lot of the days, really.
Well, I mean, especially April 6th. It was the first day of the most heavy combat that I think any of us had ever even imagined. And so it's a flurry, right? Like I'm sure you remember a lot of bright high points, but it's hard to remember details. The next thing I know for sure for your platoon is because you came and joined my platoon. And so wherever you guys went after that, you came and reinforced up through Nova, and you ended up in the Sofia district where we had been surrounded for quite some time, and you guys helped us kick down doors and clear a few houses. You guys had a few... Go ahead.
Was there Army there too with their Bradleys or whatever?
So eventually, when you guys initially showed up, there was not. You initially showed up, and we had several houses that we knew there were guys in that we had you guys help us take down.
Mm-hmm.
You had already had 2 enemy combatants that were in the back of a highback, and I am fairly certain it was yours, only because I remember Fernandez jumping out of the back of it. And then they were tied up in the back, laying on the floor. I think one may have even been dead. I don't know if he was alive or not, but. And then after that, we couple more run and gun gunfights, kicked down some houses, threw some grenades. And then we moved further north, and that's when we found the remnants of the Echo Company QRF and the snipers. And we cleared a couple fields. Specifically, your highback was involved in that, I know, because I remember Riegelsberger driving far forward of many of the rest of us and helping to take care of that. And we put those Echo Company QRF guys, and I think some of the snipers, whoever was most wounded, we threw them in the back of your highback, and I threw you out. And we stole your highback and drove like hell to Junction City. We shot our way through the whole north of the city to Junction City. But that was when the Bradleys were there. What do you remember?
I remember those Bradleys being really impressive vehicles, but they were full of cowards. I remember we were walking. We were dismounted, and they had 50 cals on top. Like I said, we had a saws and 240 for our platoon on our trucks. So we're all here with M16s. A couple guys with 203s, and they were complaining that they were pinned down, and they need us to go up here and do this and that. And it's like, you're fucking pinned down. You got armor. Like, go fuck yourself, man. You fucking light it up with your 50 cal and keep driving. What the fuck is wrong with you? But we didn't say that. We just went and cleared the buildings, Yeah, I mean, that's what I mostly remember about those days. I was with the Sergeant Major detachment that one day that he took over my fire team. It was me, him, Mater, and I think Fernie was there for the last bit of it, but I remember him bitching at us because Sergeant Major asked for volunteers, and the three of us went with him, and he might not have heard yet. So we were on rooftops with the Sergeant Major. We get back to him. He's like, where the fuck were you guys? And we told him. He's like, you got to fucking tell me too. And like, yeah, my bad. Whatever. It was cool. It was fun. I remember Sergeant Major Booker wouldn't let any of us go into any rooms first. Him with his sniper rifle, and he would hold it muzzle up. And I was like, I'm new, and I know that's not how you're supposed to enter a room, but he would kick the door in and go in first on every single room, every single house. It was like, Sergeant Major, let me go. Like, I got this. He's like, no, get the fuck back there. And 2 dozen rooftops we made it to that way. Him looking for bad guys and stuff like that. That audible whiz and pop, bullets going right near you over and over again. Probably just people, jumping out from around corners, spraying a mag and jumping back in type of thing.
Yeah.
We got quite a few of them, when they did that, but you never get all of them. So
they had better camouflage than you did.
Yeah. And that was infuriating because, they could just put the AK under their man dress and all of a sudden they're just another civilian, And I remember, might have been the 7th or the 10th, it coming down. It's like, if they're out today, they're a bad guy. It's like, I don't think that's how the ROE was really taught to us, in Kuwait on the way here. I'm not going to do that. Like, if I see a weapon on them, type of thing. Yeah, but I remember we shot a lot of people that day.
That's a really good point, Dan. We haven't really talked much about that, but back in Kuwait, when our mission was still SASO, and our ROEs were pretty tight, and real tight, real tight.
That's only like if they had a gun, but they weren't pointing it at you.
Yep. And then as I think part of what created the April 6th and on was that our ROEs were as they were, and they didn't, and we had to adapt to that. And I can't remember the number of times that our ROEs changed. I mean, I swear to God, it was every 2 weeks. Got told something a little bit different. And then also, I mean, to continue on to when we actually did our left seat, right seat with our follow-on peeps. That's why we were called cowboys, is that we had our interpretation of the ROEs were a little bit different than what they were being told what their ROEs should be, and that got some people killed, unfortunately. But that was we were responding to a very different. I mean, we went in, our intel brief was like, everything's fine. This is going to be, soccer balls, candy bars, and generators. And our ROEs reflected that up until April, when it was like, nope, we need to go weapons free here.
Well, when the temperature started getting higher in May and June, and we had a change in the fighters. I feel like April was an actual insurgency. It was mostly locals, right? There was probably some foreigners in there, but fuck, I don't know. I don't know the difference, but it looked like more locals, people dressed like everybody else. And after that, May, June started being like the Black Pajamas, the AQI, the Al Qaeda in Iraq guys, those kind of people. And the attacks had a different level of lethality. We started seeing sniper attacks and the different kinds of IEDs with fireballs and explosive form penetrators and all that other shit. And with that, we changed our rules of engagement, our ROEs, to some more similar to Fallujah, where it was military age male. If you were 14 to 90 and you were out in our cordon, shoot till they stop moving.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's when I remember. That's when that changed. And I remember having the same feeling that you did, Dan, where I was like, I see a 14-year-old kid, I'm not just gonna fucking smoke him. Like if he's just crossing the street, like I don't know that that's okay. But
I remember I was, razor close to, on those really high intensity moments, covering an alleyway or something, and finger on the trigger, ready to light someone up because you see movement 100 yards down or whatever. And you think it's going to be a bad guy popping around the corner because that's happened to you twice that day already. And then there's a whole family that's sneaking across the road.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm honest to God thankful I never lit those families up because I was very close. If I had a machine gun instead of an M16, I could definitely see myself mowing down an entire family. But thankfully I didn't, like not to throw shade on anyone that did, because
no, those ambiguous moments, you have no idea.
Happened, right?
Yep.
I don't know anyone personally that did, they've never confided that in me, but I can definitely see how it would happen.
If you like what you've heard, this is a multi-part episode. Make sure you listen to the rest of the story.